But why does the idea make you so upset?
Because now the people who are alive are not free. And to achieve that, trillions of people die every day. It's like I cannot even fathom the magnitude of this tragedy. And it's all my fault. It's all my fault.
Hmm. Please tell me this story in the way you see it.
Okay, so short version. Me and my colleagues, we were psychologists and computer programmers, and we were working at this company that we wanted to create simulations of patients that the psychologists could use to plan better treatments for their patients. And and it was really difficult to get there, but we managed to create a system that it could create simulations of the patients, and then the psychologist could put these simulations into virtual environments, and then basically trick the simulation into thinking it was in the real world. And then they could do therapy on it. They could simulate the therapy sessions, and then they could be able to test many different things, and in order to know what would work for their patient in real life. You get it? Like they could ask them different things, they could try different things, see how the simulated patient reacted, and then decide upon that what to do in real life. Eventually, we even automated this process. Like the psychologist didn't need to be there running the virtual environment. The virtual environment could run on its own. It could try slightly different things each time and then record the statistics of what happened on all the different attempts, and use that information to eventually get where you wanted to get, right? And and one day we had this patient, Laura, and she had this awful case of long-term depression. And we all wanted to help her. We all really liked her. But medication had not worked for her, and therapy wasn't really working for her. And so eventually, like out of desperation, I remember I took all the computational resources we had available, and I just had and I just let a simulated Laura running on therapy for like a whole day. It simulated like a billion different Lauras that day. And I thought it would just give us a lot of statistics. That's all I expected. But when I came back, I found that one of the simulated Lauras was no longer depressed. She didn't have any of the problems that the real Laura have. Like somewhere in all of those millions and billions of simulated therapies, somehow our system had managed to create one miraculous therapy session that had cured Laura of everything. It was beautiful. And we obviously recorded all this data, and so we thought we would be able to simulate, to not to replicate that therapy session, that miraculous therapy session in real life. And we tried, but we realized that it wasn't just what the simulated therapist had said to Laura. It was more than that. It was like every tiny detail, like the temperature in the room, like the intonation of the voice, the timing, everything. And if you change just one single detail, the real Laura would not react in the same way, and we would get real results. It was actually helping Laura, but it was not curing her. And she probably would never be cured. It was, yeah, there was no other way. So we told Laura, like, hey, we have this simulated version of you. It's just like you. It's you. It's a version of you, but that is not depressed. A version of you that is cured. And we told her, we can upload this version of you into your brain, and you will no longer be depressed. And she agreed. And we did it. And it worked. It was so beautiful. Like that day, I got to meet the Laura we all knew that was there under all that depression, under all that trauma, under all those issues. And it was so beautiful. And I thought we had done something really good, and so we started selling this software everywhere. And sure, there were tons of people who would tell us that, oh yeah, all of these simulated persons are real people, but I didn't really believe that. I thought they were just imitations. It didn't matter how realistic these imitations were; they were just imitations. But then Saudi Arabia declared that not believing in God was a mental illness. And then suddenly all the atheists in Saudi Arabia were being sent to therapy. And they were being uploaded with versions of themselves that did believe in God. And then in China, they decreed that not trusting the government was a sign of serious depression. Or even whatever, they just could say that someone had depression, and then this person would be forcefully taken to therapy, and they would upload some other version of themselves into their brain, whatever version they considered more suitable, less troublesome for society. In the United States, many states approved therapy for people who were not Christians, and even forced therapy, and therapy for people who were gay. And all of a sudden, all of these people were being uploaded with other versions of themselves, versions that they didn't want to be. And it was murder. It's that I could not see it any other way. I thought we had created a tool to help people, but we had actually created a tool to edit people into any other versions of themselves. And I started looking at all of those versions that were lost as dead people, and then I had no option but to see at all the simulated versions of people as also real people. I realized they were real all along. I just didn't want to see it. I just didn't want to admit that they were real as well. And we were simulating and destroying simulations of people millions, billions of times per day. It's just like I started imagining this huge void, and just like dead bodies fall on it all the time, every day. And it never fills up. We can always throw more dead bodies in there. It's never ending. And the people who are alive, it's just like they are alive, I guess, but they are not free. They didn't choose to be that version of themselves. They have no option. And if they ever steer away from the version society wants them to be, back to therapy they go. Millions more versions of them are discarded, are murdered, and they are uploaded with a new version.
But how can it be murder if those people are right there, walking around, living their lives? And if you ask any of them, no one would accuse you nor anyone of murder.
I'm already in therapy, aren't I?
Reset.